You guessed it, guys. It's me again. I hope everybody's doing good today. What I want to talk about today a little bit is just training, man. Just training. Just a kind of a broad scope. And, let me just say that everybody's different, first of all. So don't ever copy anybody's like training program or don't get online and say, oh, well, this is what Devin does, so I'm going to do what Devin does, because everybody's different. And the reason I say that is because whenever I started arm wrestling, I literally had zero physical. I didn't really do anything physical very often. So I grew up doing sports my whole life, but whenever I hit 20, I was kind of like, oh, well, there's no reason to ever exert energy again. I mean, I've done construction, but it's all like low pace, more of like a grinding, like a marathon. If you're like carrying block, laying cement block, or whatever you're doing, it's hard ass work, but you're normally not running, or anything high impact. It's more like low force kind of endurance work, and it does take you like a week or so for your body to get caught up with that kind of shit. But also what I want to talk about was just arm wrestling training, because whenever I started, I was just very weak. Like my fingers were weak, and my wrist was definitely weak with just my side pressure, my ability to go backwards. Like, honestly, I think whenever I first grabbed a dumbbell when I first started, I think like a 30-pound dumbbell was like hard to curl, maybe even just 5 times, or 4 or 5 times. And as far as like just overhead press goes, that shit was just terrible. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because when I first started arm wrestling, I didn't do anything but just arm wrestling Pacific movements. Like I just did, the post and hammer, and I had I had my wrist wrench, and I was doing cupping. So I was doing a bunch of wrist and stuff, and bicep work or brachialis work, depending on if you're supinated or not. But anyways, I quickly realized that I kind of like jumped up and hit a peak pretty quick. And I was able to make gains. I was doing good. I was getting stronger. The table time was helping, both arms. But what I really come to realize is that I had hit my peak pretty quick, and that my side pressure, I couldn't get it anymore, or because my weakness was my shoulder stability. So whenever I tried to go sideways, I even hurt myself in North Carolina regionals. I hurt my right shoulder. I still took third, but that doesn't even matter. It was in novice. So really, I mean, a novice is all just, in my opinion, most people say don't even pull amateur or novice at all. I disagree with that, depending on where your level of strength is. If your base level is so low, god damn it, your base, I'm just gonna plop this thing everywhere I fucking guess. So if your base level of strength is just so low that you're not, you don't even feel in the match whatsoever, that it just kind of like bam, then pull novice so you get your strength up, but I'm not saying you need to be able to lift 100 pounds in side pressure or back pressure or curl or anything before you hop in the pro class. I'm just saying the best thing about the novice and amateur is to get in and get out. Get in, hit your weights, hit your gym, do your arm wrestling, and then get your strength up to where the problem when amateur becomes a problem is when people try to live there, or people try to camp out there forever. And and you're supposed to get stronger, learn some technique, and get out of there. Because just like many of these pros say that they don't like amateur classes because it's just teaching badass habits, that people are pulling amateur for 3 years. When they come to a practice, now they got to unlearn all that bullshit that they learned. And so I kind of understand that. So it's better off, because what I was told is that when you're in a pro class, if somebody grabs your hand, and they'll be able to tell that you don't arm wrestle that much, and as a result, they're obviously gonna still beat you, but they're not gonna, you know, they may just ease it over, you know. And so, but training, see, my base level was so low that I hit a plateau early. I couldn't build any more side pressure because my shoulder was just maxed out, because I wasn't that physical of a guy. I did construction, but I didn't lift weights, and so my body just couldn't handle the progress I was looking for. And so what I actually changed up was, I was in Charlotte and I had a talk with Derek Smith, like arm wrestling Derek, the big fella from California. He's actually the king of Cali, actually, as a matter of fact. And so he's 6'8". My name's Derek too, but he dwarfs the shit out of me, man. Like, I normally make people feel how he made me feel. Not even like I'm my last name's Hightower, so that stuck with me. But, you know, it's just been a funny thing. But I met him, and it's just weird. But he's such a nice guy, man. He sat there and talked to me, and I said, well, how do you work out, man? Tell me about your arm wrestling Pacific training. And he says, well, I do some, but I primarily do just muscle groups. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, I'll come in on Monday and do chest, and come in on Tuesday and do shoulders, and then come in on Wednesday and do back, and then biceps, and then, or he might do like shoulders and triceps. But the point is, he's trying to build up his base, you know, physical output, I guess you could say. And I know, like, I want to touch back on that, a lot of people see people training a certain way, but they may have been arm wrestling for 20 years, so their shoulder and their chest and all that has already been built up through years of table time, or through maybe even their own style of full body training. I say full body, I don't mean legs. But in my opinion, it takes more than just curling and wrist curls to be a good arm wrestler. And for me, I started to level up and get better once I started doing some of the staples of muscle building. You know, like, for instance, would be like the military press. I go in and do a standing military press where I get the barbell and I put, you know, I just started out literally just putting a 10 on either side, which is only 65 pounds. I started out pressing 65 pounds over my head. If you can't press that, start out with 45. If you can't press that, then don't use the big long Olympic 7-foot barbell. Grab you one of the bell or the bar with all the curls in it that's shorter. It's probably about a 4-foot bar, and just press that. And it was through building up my shoulders and then starting to do bench press. People say don't bench press when you arm wrestle, but another thing I want to talk about is balance. Not only is sometimes building up your base strength going to really help, like with your chest and with your back and with your shoulders and biceps and triceps. I'm not saying you have to go crazy heavy and do run 1 rep maxes on all these things. I'm just saying that you should get them in the auxiliary rotation of your training, where you're just doing some shoulders and some front delt raises, and you got your arm fully extended doing side lateral raises, just with maybe 10 pounds or 15 pounds. But as you do it and you just build up the health and all these muscles, then it's going to allow you to do arm wrestling Pacific stuff and get stronger faster, in my opinion. Some people don't need it. Some people are already like horses, and they just need to fine tune in. They just need to fine tune in on their, you know, on their small movements, on their cupping, on their dragging, you know, on their firing into the pinky, or whatever it may be, or on their pronation, or on their supination. And some people may already be gym rats that have been in the gym for years, and that's not an issue. But for me, it held me back. And so my ability to go in and bench press, and I don't do real heavy bench, but the reason I'd say it's important is, like, I'm going to touch back on balance now. And, you know, they call it, arm wrestling is a pulling sport. They call it pulling for a reason, because you're trying to pull everything to you. You know, you don't really do much pushing, but your body needs to be balanced. So if I'm always doing these rows, I'm always doing heavy, whether it be seated cable rows, or like a, you know, simulation like a boat rowing, you know, where you pull to your, or midsection, or whether it be either a pull up or a lat pull down. I still need balance. And so with my pull-up, I've got that covered with my overhead military press, which we've just talked about. And then also when I'm doing seated rows or bent over rows, pulling to my core, then bench press is the opposite for that. And you just want to remain balanced throughout your training. Just like, you do curls, you want to do reverse curls. Just how you do all these bench wristed, where you want to grab a light barbell and do reverse curls. Just like that. When you do all these curls, you also want to do tricep extensions. And so there's all kind of stuff. And JM presses is the third thing I'm going to talk on today. And that is just for elbow rehabilitation and strength. You don't have to go heavy, but look up JM Blakely or Todd Hutchings, and he'll show you an example of the JM press. It's a bench press variation that starts like this, and the weight, and you're gonna put your thumb on. You're not gonna do this. You're gonna put your thumb back and grip the bar in your hand like this, and then as you go down, you're gonna wrist curl. And then what's going to happen is your bicep and your forearm are going to lock out as far down as they go. And then that's what's going to stop you. And then as you press the movement back out, then you'll hold the weight here in your fingers. So, and it looks like this, like as you press it out. It bottoms out here, and then you fully extend. Bottoms out here, and you fully extend. And what it does is it stretches that elbow tendon as far as it could possibly go by making it go through all those bends, the bend in your wrist, the bend in your elbow, and that just, what's a shorter distance, a straight line or to go around the curve? Everybody knows it's a straight line. So when you bend your wrist and then you bend your elbow, that's the maximum stretch that your elbow tendon can be, and it actually makes it tougher. And it actually starts to build it up. And not only that, but whenever you get on top of somebody on a press, that's not JM. That's exactly what a JM press does. It allows you to be able to push with your tricep, with your arm folded all the way in line with your shoulder. And when you do close grip, neutral grip, and then wide grip JM presses, it's fucking horrendous. When you do wide grip fucking JM presses, think about that for a second. Look, a wide grip JM press. Oh, wait a minute. This looks like I'm pulling in a bad position, don't it? Huh. Funny how that works. So, start out low with low weight JM presses, and as you do them, they're really gonna help strengthen your elbows, especially the wide grips. They feel the strangest too, because they don't lock out well. Because whenever you're all outside, it kind of misses each other, and so your tendons kind of have to catch the bar under your neck here, and then you push it up. Instead of being in line like this, the wide grip gets you out here. And so now it kind of really helps strengthen your elbow when somebody back pressures you out and you're still coming forward, it kind of gives you a good stop out here. But can't be giving you guys out all my damn secrets now. So you guys may call it pulling in a bad position. I may call it JM press training. Stay strong. And love arm wrestling.